This
Mark
fucker.
Hertling.
This fucker. Watch my last video. Let's see what he has to say now. Shut up, let's start.
Anna Thomason learned how to shoot an AR-15 style rifle back in 2015 after a battle with breast cancer sidelined her from running marathons.
Being a girl in my family, that was what the boys did. So I had never learned how to do that before.
Did it give you confidence, learning how to use it?
Incredible confidence. It's incredibly powering. The energy coming off of that gun, I feel like goes into your body, and then you're not tired again.
It energized her so much she became an instructor.
Eyes and ears.
And along with her husband, Brian Wirtz, is now teaching others how to use it. We caught up with them at Eagle Gun Range in Farmers Branch, Texas.
Does it fire differently when you use it compared to other rifles, or I mean?
It's softer shooting than most. It doesn't have a lot of recoil, and it almost feels like shooting like an air gun, as opposed to something that's really heavy.
Brian also likes the AR-15 style because he says they're easier and safer to handle than handguns, so you don't need to spend as much time and money on training.
The thing about easy that matters is that when you defend yourself, it's more accurate. So if you're in a home and your family is all there, you'll be more accurate with that.
Brian and Anna use their AR-15 style rifles for target practice.
Fuck yes. Finally, some fucking regular ass coverage of what people actually believe.
But mainly for their own protection.
What do you say to people who say, why would somebody like you have to own an AR-15? What do you say to those?
Because of this guy right here. He, any of those people can punch me once, I'm going to be lights out. But if I can defend myself and give me distance and time, then I have a fighting chance to live past today.
I know some people are just afraid of them and they're not comfortable.
Exactly what tons of people have been saying. It is a matter of fact. She said it herself. That guy can fucking punch me a little fucking, I am not even gonna guess, scrawny person. Once, that also applies to scrawny dudes. And boom, they're gone, they're out. That person can now do whatever. They can kill them, they can do unspeakable things, they can do whatever. If they can get distance so that they have the time to pull a firearm on them, they can now defend themselves and their life will be safe.
Chance to live past today.
I know some people are just afraid of them and they're not comfortable with them. If we can introduce it to them safely, then they normally say, that thing's not even scary.
Yeah. If you introduce firearms, even the AR-15, to someone safely, they go, oh, that shit ain't scary. They realize that, oh, this isn't the big bad boogie gun that's gonna fucking hop off the shelves and shoot up your schools on its own after it possesses someone. They realize, oh, this is just a tool that's fairly easy to use and understand, and there's nothing to be inherently afraid of it for.
This is a AR-15 chambered in 5.56.
Hell yeah.
With the EOTech red dot.
Ray Rodriguez is also a big fan of the AR-15 style rifle.
I fell in love with it the very first trigger pull.
Ray says he owns them for protection.
I can clear my apartment if I need to.
Ray says the AR-15 style is especially popular because they're so customizable.
Yes, I forgot to mention that in the last video. But another reason is that people get them is because they are so customizable. I mean, this one is obviously painted, but you can also like throw on a whole bunch of different attachments and in different positions and stuff. And it makes it to where you can really customize it for exactly what you need it for exactly how your house is set up and exactly what you prefer to do to clear it. Do you want a light on the side, on top, on bottom, on right? Do you want to have like a button on the back of the light that you push, or do you want to have the little pressure plates where you can push down on the top and then the light like on the side comes on? Like however you want to do it, you can customize AR-15s. Great. My only gripe with it is just that they keep saying AR-15 style rifles when literally these are all AR-15s. Or you could get away with saying they're AR-15s at the very least.
Often described as Legos for adults. Anna personalized hers to fit her small frame. It weighs less than 5 pounds.
We've had to find different components to make it as light as it can be. I would not be able to hold up a 20-pound gun and fire it where I needed to fire it.
Yeah.
Brian also had Anna's AR-15 style rifle decorated with a pink Hello Kitty decal. Others took it to greater extremes.
Yeah.
And then there's Ray, who tattooed a picture of his heavily modified rifle on his arm.
When you add on to the real gun, you're going to
I'm gonna
add
keep
on to the
adding
arm?
yes, adding on to the art. Yes.
That's cool.
Despite his loyalty to the AR-15 style rifle, there are still many who will question why anyone needs to own one.
I would say give a proper gun range the ability to coach them through what a AR-15 is capable of and what you can do through proper training and proper coaching. You can see that it can be a sport, and it is a sport.
Yeah.
And Randy Kay joins us now from Dallas. Randy, I'm curious.
Fucking awesome coverage so far.
Has this gun store you visited seen any change in demand for the AR-15 style rifles after the most recent shootings?
Well, John, we've certainly seen a run on this type of weapon after other mass shootings. People hear a lot of talk of gun rights, a lot of talk of banning this style weapon, so they tend to rush out to the stores and buy them. But we spoke to the Eagle Gun Range where we did our story, and they told me that they haven't seen any uptick in demand or sales of the AR-15 style rifle. And John, just one other note. You mentioned, I want to put something in context, because you mentioned this nearly 20 million AR-15 style rifles in the United States now. That's actually just a very small percentage of the number of guns in the United States. There's actually 393 million privately owned firearms in the United States right now. So 20 million of those are these AR-15 style rifles, John.
Randy Kay, thank you so much for that report. Now someone who used the AR-15 close cousin, the M16, as a tool of his trade. CNN military analyst, retired Army 3-star general and gun owner,
This
Mark
fucker.
Hertling.
This fucker. Watch my last video. Let's see what he has to say now.
Mark, when you hear these perspectives from people that Randy spoke with there, you know, as a military man who has seen what these types of weapons were more or less built for, what goes through your mind?
Hold on. Did he use the M16 or did he use the M4? I don't know, because he's old. Did he say general or lieutenant general?
From people that Randy spoke with there. Trade. CNN military analyst, retired Army 3-star general and gun owner,
3-star general.
Mark Hertling. Mark, when you hear these perspectives from people that Randy spoke with there, you know, as a military man who has seen what these types of weapons were more or less built for, what goes through your mind?
It's an interesting dynamic, John. What you just said is I've qualified on the M16 and the M4 weapon, the 9mm and the 45 caliber Beretta, 50 caliber machine guns, and the M1A1 tank. So I think I know a little bit about weapons. I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment. I own a weapon.
My last video would beg to differ.
I have it in the house in a lockbox with a trigger lock, and I've qualified on it.
Makes
and I
sense.
do all those things because we happen to have 5 grandchildren. But on the M16, I know people are enamored with it because, as your 2 guests recently just described, it's a good word with it. We happen to have 5 grandchildren. But on the M16, I know people are enamored with it because, as your 2 guests recently.
I think they're more enamored with the AR-15 overall. Just going to say that. And if not that, then the M4. Definitely not the M16.
I just described. I know people are enamored with it because, as your 2 guests recently just described, it's a good weapon to fire. It gives someone a sense of protection, as the young woman said. It gives you a sense of power. But truthfully, as the president also said, it is a weapon with a high muzzle velocity. When it is sold along with high capacity magazines,
to protect you.
We have to understand that this was designed, and this is factual, as a weapon of war. It's designed for
like your fucking Colt 1911. Like your Beretta. Like every fucking gun. And if it's not that gun, it's the gun that it's inspired from, or it's based off of.
catastrophic killing. It's designed to damage tissue and to cause organ dysfunction in the enemy.
Yeah, because if someone breaks into your fucking house, you probably don't want to go, hey, bang, 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 risk damaging your ears, and then be like, so you want to rethink your position now that you have a couple of welts on your stomach? No. You want that person to fucking stop no matter what. No matter how badly they want to keep fucking going. You want to stop them. For fuck's sake.
There are very few survivors of an M4 or an M16, just as I would say of an AR-15 hit. From my experience, and from what we've seen factually, it's also the weapon of choice for mass killings, for mass shootings.
What do you mean by it?
For mass killings. For
AR-15, you could probably say that. So long as you don't count the mass shooting numbers, and then you'd have to say it's actually handguns. Oh, didn't see that one coming, did you? Yeah, that's the actual stats. Handguns are used in the majority of mass shootings. However, what they're talking about with these mass killings and stuff is actually active shooter incidents, which are different. Because mass shootings also involve, like, gang violence. They don't look at why someone's doing it. Anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. An AR-15, yes. M4, M16, no.
From my experience, and from what we've seen factually, it's also the weapon of choice for mass killings, for mass shootings. We have seen...
No. For mass killings, how you want to portray active shooter incidents. Yes. For mass shootings... Specifically, that phrase with its definitions and its various definitions, it's actually handguns.
The AR-15 used in almost 90% of the mass killings that we have seen in the United States, and that's...
He got it right that time. Mass killings, gun massacres, active shooter incidents. People don't really use the same term for it because that term isn't often used. It's usually they're using a term like that to try and mislead you into thinking, oh, mass shooting, and then their mass shooting stat is like crazy elevated because they're not just counting things like active shooter incidents.
That's because it is easy to use. It does have, in most cases, a high-capacity magazine, and it's...
Standard capacity magazine. You left-wing nut. An AR-15's 30-round magazine is standard. It has always been standard when people had the options. Something like a 40 or 50-round drum magazine, those could be considered high-capacity magazines. Drum magazines. 30-round magazines are standard, but I bet you would call a 20-round magazine high-capacity anyways. You mean 10-round. For standard, but that's not standard. 10-round magazines are fucking bullshit. Let me tell you right now. 10 rounds is fucking nothing. When your life is on the fucking line, who knows how many fucking people are going to be trying to take it. 10 rounds is stupid as fuck. But I digress. On with the video.
It's a weapon that can be transported very easily.
Because it's lightweight. That lady literally made it lightweight so that she could actually hold it and carry it and aim properly with it.
I would not be able to hold up a 20-pound gun and fire it where I needed to fire it.
To comment on one other thing, though, I'd say if you're saying you're buying a weapon like this for varmint killing, I'd say I'm going to question, first of all, your common sense as well as your choice of weapons for that kind of hunting. These are excuses made by those who want an M16.
You say to those
of this guy right here. He, any of those people can punch me once, I'm going to be lights out. But if I can defend myself and give me distance and time, then I have a fighting chance to live past today.
People don't usually want an M16. I'll say that first. If anything, they'd want an M4, but I think most people generally just want an AR-15 because that's all they think they need. So there's some lies right there. Or it's just his opinion, whichever.
Or excuse me, an AR-15. I'm not
What do you say?
for varmint killing.
Oh yeah, so varmint killing, I mean, might be a little extra. You probably won't need it. You could probably just use a 22 for varmint killing, which is a much lower powered round. But from a varmint to a human, there's a lot of difference. And from a varmint to a deer, there's a lot of difference.
I'd say I'm going to question, first of all, your common sense as well as your choice of weapons for that kind of hunting. These are excuses made by those who want an M16.
They don't.
Or excuse me, an AR-15.
Oh, he corrected himself.
I'm not opposed to owning these kinds of weapons. I am very in favor of responsible gun ownership, common sense weapon regulations, regulation or registration of weapons. We do that for our cars.
He's in favor of owning and being able to purchase. He just wants it to be really hard to purchase it.
Flag laws, the limit.
He wants the government to know who has what guns, so that should something happen, the government can come and take your guns away. Because that's the only reason you need to know who has what gun. Because if you know someone's about to go commit a crime, you can just go to them and stop them with the guns that you would normally bring to stop them. And red flag laws are so fucking unconstitutional. They bypass due process and try and strip you of your Second Amendment rights. And they usually give that power to people who can very easily, in many people's lives, just be vindictive against you. Or like, oh, I saw that person had a gun, I'm going to do a red flag law against them. And depending on where you are, what your red flag laws say, you can potentially do that.
On magazine capacity, do that for our cars. Red flag laws, the limits on magazine capacity, and the banning of ghost guns.
Fuck you with your mag capacity limit. I want to have as many rounds as I feel I need. And who the fuck are you to tell anyone else that you don't need that many rounds? You can't have that many rounds. This is the amount of rounds. We have scientifically studied how many rounds you would on average need and how many rounds at most you would need. Because here's the thing. If you only give people the average amount of rounds that they need to protect themselves, that means half of the people using the gun to protect themselves have the amount of rounds they need, and half of the people need more rounds. So even if you studied it and gave people the average, it's too little. You're sentencing them to just get shot or killed. That's why it's up to the person individually to determine how many rounds they believe they need to carry. There's a fucking cop that after shooting a suspect, I think it was 14 times, and the dude just wasn't going down. After that, he started carrying like boxes worth of ammo in his car, or maybe like in a whole bunch of magazines. I forget how exactly he did it, but he started carrying fuck tons of ammunition in case he ever ran into someone. Guess what that person was on? That person was whacked out their mind, couldn't fucking feel the bullets, and that cop kept fucking shooting until eventually that person's body stopped working. Because if he didn't, that person was gonna fucking kill that cop. So fuck your mag capacity limits. You want to do that? I'll bring more fucking mags.
Those are the kinds of limits on magazine capacity and the banning of ghost guns.
Also define a fucking ghost gun, because here's the thing. It has always, since the beginning of our country, been completely fine for someone to manufacture their own firearm. It has been completely fine for someone to go, hey, I own this firearm. I'm going to give it to you. Or, hey, I own this firearm. You want it? I asked this much. Cool. Or like, I asked for this thing in exchange for it. Awesome. That has always been legal. From the founding of our country. You can manufacture your own firearms, and you can sell your firearms to whoever you want. It's only in recent times that certain states have started going, hey, whoa. You can't do that. You can't make your own firearms. What do you think this is? A free country? Please. And what's this you want to sell? No, you got to go through someone else, and then there's a whole like ordeal with tracking that we're going to do, you know, so that we know who has what firearms, so that, you know, if something happens, we can come and take them. Because that's the only reason you need to know who has what firearms.
Those are the kinds of arguments I believe our representatives in Congress should be taking up.
You were mentioning Senator Thune. Senator Thune of South Dakota was talking about his constituents. He said wanted AR-15s for varmint hunting. Those were his exact words.
Yeah.
You mentioned,
and he is one of several that has done that too. And it's just kind of a bizarre argument.
You mentioned
I could see it. It doubles as home defense and varmint hunting. It's probably fine. You shoot them in the head, blows the fucking skull into pieces. They're now headless. The blood drains out. You just pick them up by the tail. Like, I don't know enough about it, but I'd imagine it's fine to use too much firepower for a varmint if you want. To each his own.
They were designed, in your mind, to cause catastrophic damage, tissue destruction. What exactly do you mean by that?
In his mind.
Well, there's been a lot of studies on this, a lot of medical studies recently. You talk to doctors who work in emergency departments, emergency rooms in hospitals. They will tell you, because of the velocity of the round that leaves the weapon, anywhere from 3,200 to 4,200 feet per second, that round, because it is so small, usually the 223 or the 5.56, it will enter an individual, and when it hits anything, a bone, an internal organ, it will ricochet. It also causes a small entry wound, but a very large exit wound because it tumbles inside of the human body. There are films of this kind of...
And yet it doesn't in a deer body? So you can't use it to hunt deer?
Unless you think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests or something.
Round striking pig tissue, gelatin that represents human flesh, and you can see the kind of damage it does, like it did, unfortunately, on the young children in places like Uvalde, where it blows the human body apart, both on the outside and the inside, from the tumbling inside the body, the striking of different organs. If it hits a bone, it will ricochet. That's what it's designed.
If it hits a bone and ricochets, that means there's not a lot of force left in the bullet. If you want everyone to go back to like an M1 Garand from World War II, okay. Now instead of lightweight, small rounds, they have heavy-ass guns with heavy-ass rounds that's now going to over-penetrate and is going to be much easier to shoot through walls. And when it goes into someone, it fucking makes a bigger hole and it just blasts right through them. And then it hits whatever's behind them. And you probably need higher level body armor to stop it. I'm pretty sure. Because there's more force. Because there's more mass and more inertia. It's your choice.
Designed to do in combat. So that's why, truthfully, I have problems with the AR-15, but I can understand why other people want to use it and want to own it.
General Hertling, I do appreciate your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
I'm not a fan of General Hertling. Watch my last video to see some other bullshit, and then watch the other video that I was talking about to see about lies in the media. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed, found it informative, and if you didn't, try out the other one. It might be a bit more informative. Who knows? But if you did enjoy, please like the video, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and peace.